Oh, welcome to Vanderbilly.com. This is in response to a request for The Stealer by Free. It was from Highway, which came out in 1970. And it's a really awesome Kossoff number. So it's got one tricky chord sequence in it, but in the second part of this lesson, I am going to suggest a couple of ways to deal with that and maybe make a substitution if you can't make the original chords. So one way or the other, you'll be able to play it. Let's take a look. Okay, the intro starts off with an A chord, or actually a piece of an A chord, because you're only going to be playing the D and the G strings as a double stop, and you're playing that against a pull off on the A string from the third fret to open. So the pull off is just, and then the double stop is, let it ring. So then you take that middle finger that you just used and you slide up to the fifth fret on the A string and hit the two open strings D and G. Then slide up to the seventh fret on the A string and then do the pull off again. Then hit a power G chord, so you put your first finger on the E string third fret and your ring finger on the A string fifth fret and pinky on the D string fifth fret. Then take your middle finger and slide up from the A string third fret to the A string fifth fret and play the D string fifth fret too, just like this. And then you're ready to go into the riff. Okay, I'm going to start the main riff by playing it slowly, starting from that intro. So it's just... So what's happening in this riff is you're taking your middle finger and you're sliding from the A string fifth fret to the A string third fret. And it's not slow, it's not, it's, and then you play the A string open, and then the E string third fret, and then the A string open, and then you play that same pull off that we did in the intro, and then slide up with your middle finger to the A string fifth fret and get that double stop of the open D and G. So again, slowly, it's just... And on the record, he's playing with, a fair amount of palm muting, so that would be more like... Okay, so you've played the you played the riff twice for the intro and then 4 times for the verse while he's singing. And then he goes into what essentially is the hard part of the song. It's only 3 chords, but they're a little tricky, and the transition to the last one is what is really hard. So the first one is a modified A chord. You're going to play it up at the 7th fret. You have an open A string, and then you put your first finger on the D string, 7th fret, and your middle finger on the G string, 9th fret, and your pinky on the B string, 10th fret. And so that should sound like this. And he just plays that once, and it's just... Then you're going to go to a modified A minor chord. And normally what you would do is you would play, if an A minor is like this, and you were going to leave the A string open, you might normally just put your ring finger on the D string, 7th fret, and then bar the 5th string of the G, B, and E string, and it would sound, like this. But if you're going to make the transition to the next chord, the best thing to do is actually use your pinky to play on the D string, 7th fret. So here's why. Because you're going to play that same chord, pinky on the D string, 7th fret, barring the G, B, and E strings, and leaving the A string open. So you've gone from... And again, you only play it once. Now the next chord is the trickiest chord in the song. It drives people crazy. Unfortunately, you have to get it right, and it does involve a big stretch. So what you do from this position is you leave your pinky anchored where it is. You stretch as far as you can, basically, and you put you're going to end up with your pinky on the D string, 7th fret, your middle finger on the G string, 5th fret, and then reaching all the way up with your first finger, you're going to bar on the B and E strings at the 3rd fret. It should sound like this. And the trick is getting from here to there. So what you're doing is pinky, and then just stretch up, and you let that one ring. So it's sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So you got to let that one. You got to get that one right, or it's going to sound crappy. You do that 3 times, and then the 3rd time, you take this finger and just slide it up. After you let the chord ring, you slide it up to the 7th fret and get, and then slide down and hammer on to the D string, 7th fret. So, and there's a pause, and then he plays with a little bit of staccato. He's going to play. So that's just D string, 5th fret, D string, 7th fret, G string, 5th fret, G string, 7th fret, G string, 4th fret, and then a full open D chord. And then he goes into this, what I consider to be sort of the bridge.